Good morning and welcome. This is Peter, Conquest 3 at LSE Share Talk. Today I have the pleasure of speaking to Joao, the CEO of WideCells, whose company is IPO today. WideCells is the first stem cell company to be listed on the FTSE, and another significant point, it's also the first FTSE listed company that's been interviewed by LSE Share Talk. So, hello Joao and welcome.
Hi, Peter.
So, exciting times for WideCells today then.
Yes, exactly. Exciting times.
Okay, well, because there's still a few individuals out there, and we're looking to get your name out there regarding a global audience. I wanted to just touch on your background before we get into wide cells and how you got involved with wide cells, etc. If you could do that for me, please.
Yeah, of course. So I was born in Brazil, but living in Europe for the past 25 years and working in the UK in the corporate banking industry, which is a segment of the stem cell industry,
Yep.
for about 10 years now. I was involved in two of the largest corporate banks in Europe previously, and so for the past 4 to 5 years, I've been working in creating solutions for the industry.
Okay. Do you want to touch on which two major banks those were, please?
Yeah, so I worked previously for Future Health Technologies.
Yep.
They are based in Nottingham, and Precious Cells Technologies based at Brunel University in London.
Brunel. Okay. So what made you get involved with initially with the cell plan then?
So the reason why I started White Cells in 2012
Yeah.
is because there is a major problem in the corporate banking market. So what the industry has at the moment is there is around 3 million people all over the world that paid around £2,000 to store their baby's stem cells
Hmm.
to protect their families against future illness.
Yeah.
But they are mostly unaware that stem cell treatment can cost up to £300,000, which means that the majority will not be able to afford it.
Yeah.
So when we started in 2012, we started with the mission of making stem cell treatment accessible and affordable. And that's what we have been doing, developing the CellPlan, and that we have just launched on the 18th of May at the World Corporate Congress this year here in London. And we launch it to corporate banks, and within the next 3 to 6 months, we'll make it available to families in Europe.
Okay. When you say to make it more affordable, obviously you're saying that the cost can go up to £300,000. What sort of price are you looking for? Which price point are you going for there?
So the cell plan price will vary from around £150 to £300, and that's in Europe, and then it will be adapted outside Europe.
Okay. And can you explain to those listening how you've brought the price point down from the price it was before to now? Is this going to be a monthly payment that people pay, or is it a one-off payment?
Well, in fact, the cell plan, and to start, it's what we have developed is four different services, and they are all included in one single product, the cell plan.
Yeah.
And the four services are we have the Your Expert consultation, which is a service where we provide families and patients access to the best stem cell specialists in the world.
Yeah.
We have another service that is called the Your Global Resource, which is providing the right diagnosis and the right treatment plan.
Hmm.
And also a medical concierge to arrange for transport of the sample, hospital admission, transport or and accommodation for the family. So
Yeah.
all of that is included in CellPlan. And then we have a service that we call, which is effectively insurance policy, that we
Yeah.
call the Your Family Protection, that provides cover for up to €1 million in Europe and $1 million outside Europe to cover for the stem cell procedure. So all of this is included in CellPlan. And what we have done is looking into the 82 diseases that are treatable today using umbilical cord blood stem cells, and we have built the insurance model from there, looking at the number of transplants that have been performed so far, and the first cord blood transplant being performed in 1988, and so far 35,000 transplants using umbilical cord blood have been performed. So it was on the basis of these figures that we developed the insurance model together with the insurance company.
Excellent. And I've noted that recently that Marilyn, is it Orchison, joined you at
Exactly.
NED, and
Yeah,
she's the co-founder of Denplan. So you've got
exactly.
a senior, well, a serious heavyweight industry veteran there in your fold to give you advice and guidance on growing this business as well.
Exactly. That's absolutely right. And she has changed the dental industry in the UK, and
Indeed.
she's now embarked in this journey to change the stem cell industry globally.
Excellent. Because I mean, the stem cell treatment as an industry is still in its very early stages of development, isn't it? You'd agree with that?
Well, in a way it is, but if we look at it from another perspective, the first stem cell transplant was performed in 1957
Right.
with
Okay.
bone marrow transplants, which is effectively a stem cell transplant, starting to be performed in the 60s and 70s as a
Yeah.
routine treatment.
Yeah.
And it has then developed to other sources of stem cells being used to treat blood diseases and disorders. And then in 1988, the first cord blood transplant was performed to treat a patient with anemia of Fanconi. And from there, 35,000 transplants have been performed. And the number of diseases treatable with umbilical cord blood stem cells in 2003 were around about 20 diseases. And today, we have around 82, which is more than a 300% increase. So it's in a way, stem cells have been used for decades now, but in the past 10 to 15 years, there have been major developments.
Excellent. Now, touching on all the different developments, could you tell me who conceived the concept of CellPlan?
Well, at the beginning, of course, as everything, it starts as an idea,
Yeah.
but then because we wanted to start by providing also an expert medical opinion service, which we believe is crucial to provide the right diagnosis and to provide the right treatment plan to the patient. We have entered a partnership with a company, American company called Best Doctors, and Best Doctors, they have global presence. And when we approached them to build and to design the expert medical opinion service, we started to develop with them the whole concept for CellPlan with their experienced team. So that's how the whole thing started when we started the company. So we effectively developed the model together with Best Doctors
Excellent. So that's been running for how long now, that relationship with Best Doctors?
for 3 years.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so given that they've made such advances regarding stem cell technology, where do you think this leads us to 3, 4, 5 years from now, with
Yeah.
regards to it, A, being you know, affordable for most, yeah,
Yeah.
and regarding the health issues that are currently still finding difficulty to deal with?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So the way that we see this moving forward is, for example, and focusing on the cell plan. One of the things that we have done is to include the cerebral palsy clinical trial in the policy, which will be
Okay.
available to the policyholders. And we are looking at other things such as autism and diabetes, where there have been excellent clinical developments. And we are focusing and looking into other diseases that will most likely be treated using stem cells in the next 3 to 4 years. But we've started to be being more focused on umbilical cord blood, but CellPlan will be more than that, as we'll be looking into building insurance models and finance solutions for the whole stem cell industry. But we are effectively starting with cord blood because that's used as routine treatment today.
Okie dokie. So, given that stem cells treatments may not be something that many people see as accessible to them, should they need specialized treatment, how does your recently launched plan aim to tackle that?
Well, mainly this starts by when families are aware of the concept of banking their stem cells.
Yeah.
When moving forward, when they start taking the cell plan, they will know that they have an expert medical opinion service included and a medical concierge to assist them. And we will always work with the patient's local physician, regardless of where the patient is in the world. So if someone in the family develops a blood disease or a blood disorder, if the person receives that diagnosis, both the doctor, the local treating physician, and the patient will be aware that the family has a stem cell stored and that they can access treatments in the best clinics in the world. So it's something that we have made available, the medical concierge, so that we can help the patients on the journey from cord blood banking to stem cell treatment.
Excellent. I love that reply. Thank you. So the next stage now, you've been creating the CellPlan. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to be the world's first global stem cell healthcare plan.
Yes.
Yeah, involving all of that, Joe, you've got essentially a situation where you're going to be game changing the industry, aren't you? Essentially.
Yes, exactly. Because one of the things that is very important to know is that stem cell treatments are the highest price treatments within the medical marketplace
Yeah.
of medical inflation. So this is a very important problem that we are resolving with CellPlan, making stem cell treatment accessible and affordable. So what we believe is that the uptake for the cord blood services will increase because more families will be able to afford it. The reality is that families, some of the families, when they are aware of cord blood storage, when they understand that a stem cell treatment can cost £300,000,
Yeah.
they might think about paying 2,000. But if they come to the conclusion that they might need to pay £200,000 or £300,000 in the future, that might deter them from storing their baby stem cells. And now with CellPlan, we make everything much more affordable. So I think that changes the industry completely.
Indeed. I mean, you've got first mover advantage, and I'm going to ask this question quite pointedly. Was it the situation of having first mover advantage that enticed Mitten Group to get involved with WideCells?
Yes, so yes, it is. Obviously, it's very important to be a first mover, but the most important thing for us now will be to scale up quickly. And that's why we have the partnerships with a very large reinsurance company based in Switzerland, and our partnership with Best Doctors
Yeah.
that have offices all over the world allow us to deploy the CellPlan in pretty much every market. So this means that we have global insurance and reinsurance capacity, and we are just one of a kind. So we are the first mover, but we have developed a model that allows us to offer this solution to families anywhere in the world moving forward.
Excellent. I mean, obviously, like anything growing this fast and scaling up, you're going to have some difficulties and potentially some hurdles. Is there anything that you can envisage that may slow down the rapid growth going forward?
Well, the most important thing is that we have built a very light infrastructure where we within this partnership that we have with Best Doctors, they are managing all the claims and providing the expert medical opinion service. So we are outsourcing that to them. So effectively, we are managing all the front office, all the support to corporate banks and to the policyholder. And that really allows us to scale up quickly without major challenges of having to set up offices and customer support centers all over the world. We can have that centralized operation.
Excellent. Now, Joe, you've got probably the core blood banking community looking at you now. How have you been received by them?
Well, we've launched the CellPlan to cord blood banks at the World Cord Blood Congress on the 18th and 19th of May, and the response that we received was very positive.
Excellent.
And obviously, there are a lot of questions on how the business model will effectively be implemented with the cord blood banks, and that's what we have been discussing with the major cord blood banks in Europe, and that's what we are preparing now is the implementation plan for deploying the CellPlan in the upcoming months.
Okay, so having done your research and put the plan together and working with Best Doctors and having all the different insurance companies in place, do you have anybody on the horizon that's looking at you and thinking, okay, we need to play catch up with these guys? So I'm talking now, have you got any rivals now? You've got first mover advantage. Is there anybody else you're looking over your shoulder at?
Well, the reality is we have built, because we have four services, I
Yeah,
cannot say that we really have a direct competitor, because it's the expert medical opinion service, it is the medical concierge,
yeah,
and it is the ability to provide access to the best medical teams and to the best treatment centers in the world. And with the €1 million or $1 million coverage, that's something that's very hard to deliver. But as to anything in the insurance industry, this is much more about the service delivery than anything else. And
yeah.
because we have all of these services and we are working with the best company in the world providing expert medical opinion services and medical concierge services, and because we have a very experienced team within the stem cell industry, and being a first mover, that's really not what our concern is not about who is coming next. Is much more about implementing it correctly, developing great products, and satisfying our customers.
Excellent, excellent. So a family will see the benefits of the healthcare coverage storing the the cord blood, yeah,
Yeah.
and therefore the cell plan should be enable them to at any time be able to access that, to then receive treatment and access the best doctors. I'm just trying to explain it in simple form to our listeners. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, that's correct. Effectively, a family, what we have built is a complete end-to-end solution.
End to end, yeah.
Yeah, so what we want to really convey is a message, a clear message from cord blood storage to stem cell treatments and all the steps that go from point A to point B. So that's effectively the message that will be conveyed with CellPlan.
Excellent. So we're here in July 2016, and I'm talking to you in July 2021. What have you achieved? What are your ambitions?
Well, the reality's ambitions is to be really providing and building insurance models for the whole stem cell industry, not only for the corporate banking industry, and that's why we have opted for the CellPlan name. It's a self-explanatory name, and
Yeah,
it's exactly what we want to be in 2021 is providing insurance capability for the whole industry.
excellent. So I've spoken with some of my colleagues, and I came up with the term that you guys are looking to be. WideCells is looking to become the Booper of the stem cells industry. Would that be accurate, or are you thinking bigger than that?
Well, I think that's accurate.
Thank you. It's always nice to be right sometimes. Now, when will the cell plan become available in the UK?
Well, we are looking into making the product available within the first 6 months after admission, but that can happen before these 6 months when we are working as quickly as we can to provide the solution, because corporate banks have now been made aware 2 months ago, and we are working closely with them to build the implementation plan, as I mentioned before. So that's we are looking into having it available this year.
Excellent. Now, Joe, I've just got one more question for you. How do you see the company developing, and what kind of news flow can we expect between now and the year end, as in December 2016?
Well, the most important thing is each time we sign up a new core blood bank, we are providing this solution to more families. And that's one of the most important, or one of the key things for our news flow moving forward.
Yeah.
But also we are building stem cell storage facilities in the University of Manchester. And we are also today launching WideCells in Brazil officially. We've entered the licensing agreement with the company in Brazil to provide also core blood storage services. And as we enter new markets, the positive news flow will continue. And bearing in mind that some core blood banks have presence in more than 20 countries, each time we sign them up, we'll have a market rollout plan. And
Yeah.
each time we enter a new market, that's positive news flow that we'll have out there.
Excellent. Now, considering all the rollouts that you've got ahead of you and the fact that this is going to be a global phenomenon, is there any consideration from the team that you may consider listing also elsewhere as well as the FTSE?
Well, for now, we are really focused on starting to deliver the products in Europe and
Yeah,
make the product right before thinking about anything else. So we are really looking into the next few months until the end of this year,
of
and
course.
to make the product available and to focus on the challenges that we might face ahead and solve them, and be able to deliver great customer service. And that's effectively what we want to do.
Okie dokie. Now, Joe, I've covered my questions. I didn't know if there's something you want to round up to say to potential investors and our listeners with regards to WideCells, that you wanted to just give a 3-pointer as to why they should consider WideCells as a company to investing long term.
Well, the first thing really is what we have built with CellPlan is quite unique, and
Indeed.
we are really the first company to look at into building insurance models and specific services for that go along with the insurance products for the stem cell industry, and that's quite compelling. But more importantly, we have another division in the company that we call Wide Academy, and Wide Academy is focused on education and training, mainly for healthcare professionals. And it's really important that healthcare professionals all over the world have access to accurate medical and scientific information. And so we, for example, enter a partnership with the University of Westminster, where we will be starting to develop now in September short e-learning courses on stem cell technology for healthcare professionals, effectively to provide the right information so that they can recommend the cord blood storage services to their patients, and so that families can make an informed decision. And that's crucial
Yeah.
to be able to provide the right information for not only the healthcare professionals but for families as well. And on the other side, we are also building stem cell storage facilities for families that would like to store their stem cells with us from a wide range of human tissues, and we have different technologies that we'll be implementing. So I think that all in all, these three synergistic divisions that we have
Yeah.
developed make the company quite compelling. It's a unique positioning that we have, and that's why we say that we are a worldwide provider of stem cell services. And this is a revenue driven company as well, because all the products we have developed are able to generate revenues. So it's not as an R&D company; it's much more as a services company.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm looking at the revenues that you've generated thus far, and it looks like you're only just scratching the surface in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
So looking out regarding, you say you're going to go to Brazil. Obviously, I'm thinking that your biggest market is going to be, as they say, where the money's at in the US and China and other parts of Asia.
Yes, exactly. That's absolutely right. And what we want to have is what we want to do is to focus on Europe
Yeah.
for now, where we have the infrastructure ready to deploy the CellPlan this year. But we are looking at outside Europe into the key markets over in Asia and Latin America, where we want to deploy the CellPlan, but also the other technologies that we have.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about having the likes of Dr. Marilyn Orchardson as well, is that you've got those sort of connections and networks where you can build those sort of connections globally with people who respect what you have got, what WideCells have got, and what Denplan have done in the past
Exactly.
to actually grow that and do it quite rapidly as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay, Joe, I've covered my questions. I really appreciate you coming on today, and
Thank you
LSE
very
Share
much.
Talk really appreciate it. We would love to have you back later on in the year if that's possible, so
I'll be
we can
happy
talk
to.
about the progress and what's been happening.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay, Joe, thank you. That's the CEO of WideCells, Joe, and Peter speaking with the team there. Thank you very much, Joe. We'll speak again soon.
Thank you, Peter.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.